Hi there, this is Dr. Fatima Williams. I recently received an SOS email. It truly was an SOS email. This is someone I'd worked with in the past. She'd come through one of my professional development programs and she had great news. Great, I've been promoted to this new leadership role. In her case, it was a dean's position. And she's not new to executive leadership or to administrative leadership. In fact, she'd had other roles before, sat on committees, done policy work, so she's quite a seasoned professional. Still, in this particular role as dean, her SOS message to me was, I feel like I am drinking through a fire hose. There is so much that is on my plate now and so much that is happening. I'm not really sure how to get my bearings about me. Now, again, this is someone who is seasoned. She's not a new professional. She's not an emerging leader. She has been in leadership before. However, this new level of leadership was really asking a lot more of her than what she had anticipated. And quite frankly, I'm putting it softly, it was demanding a lot of her. And what she saw was that, I need some way to organize this influx of information that I'm receiving. And so I was able to send her a couple quick things, but I want to share them with you here because it's not uncommon, right? It is not uncommon if you do say yes to a higher stakes role, meaning you have greater responsibilities for team and people leadership, you have greater responsibilities of strategic initiatives, and you also have greater visibility within your organization and in your industry. There are going to be new challenges that you face. And here's the thing, some people will feel blindsided by it. So in her case, her SOS was really like, wait a minute, what have I gotten myself into and how am I going to sustain this pacing and this volume that is coming at me? Now, how can you sustain it and how can you really find yourself in it? I'm going to share with you a couple quick tips that you can kind of go through to assess, have I addressed these key issues? And if not, that will be your place to start. But before I do that, I want to put a pin there and just say one of the reasons why it becomes more challenging with new levels of leadership and new advancement is because you are now privy to information that you did not have before. What am I talking about here? Now you are receiving one, just more volume of information, right? So your scope is likely widened, which means whereas before you might have managed just one team or a few projects, now you might have leadership responsibilities over more units, right? More teams or additional projects, or now it's not just the projects, but it is now the strategic thinking about how to move these initiatives forward. And so this also means that now you're privy to other things like budgetary issues that maybe before you didn't have a clearer view of budgetary issues or policy threats that may be there, or even sensitive changes that are happening behind the scenes that have not been rolled out throughout the organization yet, right? So as you move up and as you're advancing, your purview, you're being privy to more information, more conflict, more complexity, right? And so, how do we manage this complexity? I want to take us a step back then and say, the things that made you great at what you were doing before, they are your foundation. So we don't want to negate them, right? These are your foundations. They help to show and demonstrate that you are capable. You do have the capacity to do this work. You do have the know-how to do this work. But there will be some things that you need to fine tune or strengthen in order to manage the new things that are coming, right? The new responsibilities that are there, the new sensitive information that is there, the additional people that are there that you have to lead and work with and help to work with each other. Right. So I want to contextualize that so that you understand that you have done nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with you. I talk to high achieving leaders all the time, and they feel like, first off, I don't know why, but we feel like I'm not equipped for this. I have not done something, or I have not prepared. And the truth is, you couldn't prepare for something that you could only do limited preparation, I'll say, for some things that you just have not experienced yet. Some things you don't get until you jump in, until you start to experience them and understand how to even use the skills you've gained. So, as you are onboarding, and as you are, as this colleague said, feeling like you're drinking through a fire hose, I want to take you back to some core things. And the first one is really, who are you? I know it sounds like, well, what does this have to do with anything? Because in all of this, you want to be clear who you are and what defines you as a leader. So, by this, you can ask yourself, what do I want people to take away from me, whether I'm in their presence or they're experiencing or interacting with me? What do I want people to be able to expect from me? So, here I want you to kind of define out who you are and what you want people to experience of you. So, for example, do you want them to experience you as collaborative? Do you want them to experience you as decisive? Do you want them to experience you primarily as being fair? Do you want them to experience you as expert, right? All of these things have different implications, and they're really about how you want to settle first within yourself and who you are before you start to take in this influx of complexity and volume that this new role is requiring of you. So that's number one. Who are you? The second one is being clear on role scope. What is the scope of the role? Now, I know you're saying it's everything. The scope of this role is likely enough for two or three people. I understand that, and I'm not making light of that. But we want to get a sense of what are the key things that are under your purview. So, yes, the job description has lots of items under there, lots of key responsibilities under there. But we want to start to lift out in this scope, getting one, a sense of the scope, but then two, understanding what are the strategic priorities that take precedent. What are the things that need to be addressed first? And what are the things that can be humming in the background or don't need 110% of your energy? So, that second one is understanding your role scope. Have you really looked at and defined what is the scope of this role, and where am I zeroing in on the strategic initiatives that really matter the most right now? Okay, the things that need my attention in this time. The third thing is defining your approach and setting your timelines. So, this kind of goes with role scope. Once you've understood what's under your purview, it's then defining your particular approach to how you will manage that work. And so, for some people I work with, and I'm just going to give one example, it may be you're looking at the strategic initiatives that are in front of you, but you know that some of these are timely. They're timely in the sense that not always that they're happening tomorrow, but you know that these are the ones that are like the cornerstones of your role, right? They're timely in that sense. And so while they may be 3 months off or 6 months off, these are the ones that are strategic. These are the ones that are the cornerstones of your work and really need your attention foremost. And even if it's over time, it needs that attention. It needs your touch on it in a way that perhaps other things don't need that same top line approach. So, defining your approach really means looking at, yes, there's a lot under my purview, but when I look at what is going to define my leadership, what is going and what my organization is most asking me to contribute to moving forward, let me isolate those things first and understand my approach to them. Understand what are the timelines, what is the pacing that I am going to use to approach these top line issues. The fourth thing is relationships. You want to assess the quality of your working relationships. So, as you're being onboarded into this role and you're saying there's so much volume, the relationships are going to help you to move through the role a bit more smoothly. And they're going to help you to kind of deep dive into the information that you're seeing and make sense of the information that you have access to now, right? So, I'm envisioning even here someone who's coming into a new role and now they have access access to more files, background information, materials. Your relationships are going to be the things that will help to situate you within that information as you are getting up to speed. And so you want to assess the quality of those working relationships. And keep in mind, those can be internal relationships as well as external relationships. And then the fifth thing is information. What are the sources of information that you have and the quality of that information? And so here I mean project related information or key company information or team information, right? When you're coming into a new role, again, the complexity is coming at you, but also the volume of information that you're managing. But you want to be able to sort through and see what of this is most important. And some of that is going to be looking at really the quality of information that you have and the sources. Do I have enough variety of sources to help me to see what I need to see in order to define my approach to this role and to the strategic initiatives that I'm responsible for? So, let me recap for you. If you are that leader who's saying the volume is a lot, I feel like I'm drinking through a fire hose to really understand what's happening here and to kind of settle myself within this role. The recap here is I want you to remember this is not because you've done something wrong or because you are not capable of the work. I do not want imposter syndrome to get in here. What it really is saying is you have advanced. The work has advanced, right? And so there's some things that we want to be aware of and assess in order to make this transition smoother for you. And I listed out for you 5 things. One was knowing who you are, right? The other was understanding your role scope. What's under your purview now? Third is defining your approach and timelines to what you will strategically kind of begin with as you are working on this role scope and understanding this role scope. The fourth thing is relationships. The relationships that you have are going to help cut down your time in getting up to speed. That's not a replacement for reading, it's not a replacement for understanding what's in these documents and Excel spreadsheets. No, but the relationships will help you to contextualize the information that you're receiving. And then the fifth and final thing that you want to assess is the quality of information and the sources of information that you're receiving. Do I have enough of the right information from different sources or from the right sources to be able to understand the scope of the role, scope of the projects, scope of the company? So you understand what I'm saying here is you want to be sure you don't need a ton of information. You just need to be sure that you have the right information in front of you as much as possible. And so those are the things that I'd like for you to just kind of take a checklist and run through so that you are onboarding into a new role with a bit of kind of systematic approach. And you don't have to do this alone. This is one of the benefits of coaching is to have that strategic thought partnership and an objective thought partner, someone who is sort of not in your sphere of influence, who is not directly reporting to you, but who you can be a bit vulnerable with. That's just the only way to put it, where you can say what your challenges are, where you can say where you're feeling like you have gaps in information of knowledge, and that person can walk with you. That's what I do with my clients. I'm walking with my clients to help them sort through this material and see how to be strategic and to identify their own blind spots or blind spots that may be in their working environment that will hinder their ability to be successful. And so these are some things that you can discuss in coaching. And if you are interested in getting that kind of strategic thought partnership, check out our options for coaching with executives just like you and high achieving professionals just like you.